Good evening. Let's have a royal wave, shall we?
I've never been able to do it.
It's all in the wrist, apparently. Good evening, everyone. Hello, my lovelies.
Oh, I should do it this way, right? Because isn't it?
Oh, that's more like a scepter, isn't it? Oh, yeah, that's it.
That looks good.
I'm impressed. Once again, go on, do it once again for us all. You've brought the stakes up already. Hello, my lovely friends. Hello, Elaine. Welcome. And
Thank
Gerald.
you very much.
I should have thought up royal titles for you. The Duchess, Elaine of Tarot, Tats, and other bits and pieces. And Gerald, what would you be? Princess.
I think people in chat should say what I should be.
I'd like to know what our royal titles would be.
Yes, everybody needs to give us royal titles.
Welcome to everyone in chat. Thank you for joining us on this, our coronation special. Whoop. It's the coronation weekend in the UK. Lots of stuff on the news. Lots of people been out camping overnight. Poor folks getting drenched in the rain. But it's beginning to all come together and the excitement is building. So I thought we would do a coronation special. I'm not going to call it Coronation Street special. It's what I keep wanting to say without something totally different.
One of my favourite programmes.
Oh, being called out.
You've been called out.
Tiaras have replaced replaced by flowers.
Oh, what here? By flowers.
Wait. Well, I have my belting.
You go do it. You go. Let's say hello to a few people while he's gone to train, shall we? Let's say hello to Beth. Hi, Beth. Welcome. And I think all the emails have been sorted. Oh, look at that. Queen of the May.
Oh, there you go. Queen of the May. That's it.
I like it. It's got a hint of kind of French revolutionary peasant about it as well at the same time.
Are you calling me a peasant or a pheasant? I've just watched Conk on Earth.
Yeah.
And she calls the peasants the pheasants, yes. Or I'm just like going, brilliant.
Absolutely. I do like Conk. You have to be very careful how you say her name. Do recommend it.
Like Deck.
Tara. Who is this Tara Stash?
There you go, Beth.
Looking beautiful.
Red Wing, hello to you. Lovely to see you here. And Sandra, good evening to you. I hope you're getting your preparations ready for tomorrow if you're going to be taking part there. Spirit Wing is here. Hello to you. Welcome. And Ren, good evening. Hello to you. Anyone else in chat? Debbie's here. Hi, Debbie. Hope you're doing very, very well. Beth says, did you get the memo? Tiara's replaced by flowers in chat. Got you now. I'm with you.
Yes.
Lynn is here. Hello, Lynn. Good evening to you. Hello, Pamela. Hello to you. My sister is so excited. We get it, and I have full appreciation. Thank you for sharing. Wonderful. Anyone else? Oh, a pheasant peasant. Can you do the nursery, the tongue twister? Have you ever tried that?
Oh, yes.
Do it. I mean,
I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker's mate. I'm only plucking pheasants because a pheasant plucker's late.
Wow.
Well done. And that's before the wine.
I wonder what I'd be like after it.
We'll try that one again in an hour's time, shall we?
I like that. Somebody remind us in chat. That's perfect.
Kathy is here. Hello to you, my lovely Kathy. And Gina is here. Hello. Hi to everyone there. Plucky Heroine is here. Hello. Glad that you're here. Thank you for making it here. And Beth says, Charles, coronation near a lunar eclipse. I've been reading all the royal family's connections to eclipses. It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that reminds me, because not only are we going to be talking about kings and the court cards and showing some of our favourite, Elaine has done a rather special spread, haven't you, Elaine, for Charles III.
Yes.
And we're going to, towards the end of the live, be looking at it and interpreting it. And we would love your input on that one as well. So do make sure you're hanging around for that one there. Anyone else here? Excuse me. I think that's it. Hello, if you're watching on playback or just sitting back enjoying it, please feel free to comment in the chats. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Right, my lovelies. Have you got a drink? You've got your wine.
I've got my wine.
It's the first glass, isn't it?
It is. It is. I opened the bottle to see if my cork was a winner, but I don't think it was.
You weren't a winner, unfortunately. Not this time.
I need to get my magnifying glass to read the label because even my glasses don't read print that small.
Gerald, what are you on? Coffee?
I am drinking coffee with a clear message. You know,
laugh often. I like that.
Laughed often. Love it.
Often.
So sip, everyone. I've got some English tea going on, so cheers.
I was going to go herbal tea, but decided to do one of my 5 a day and go for grapes.
I love it. I love it.
Grapes, yes.
Kristen, hello to you. Good evening. And Calla Lizzie is here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Spirit Wing has said apparently every important event they have has been linked to big astro events. My astrologer relative thinks they have an astrologer.
I think the royal family always have had an astrologer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they've always had
sense. It does.
And I
make
certainly know that Diana was very heavy into her astrology.
Very much so.
And stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised by that one there.
Yeah.
So we're going to start by talking about the kings in the suit, the tarot suit, obviously, of all sorts of decks, and we'll be showing some of our favorite ones to illustrate it. So I've got some questions for you, and I haven't prepped you before, so here we go. Here's my first question. Is it important for you to have a crowned human on the card? Does it have to be a king? Does it have to have a human character? Does it have to have a crown? Does it have to have royal instruments and implements? Or do you not mind? In fact, does that kind of thing put you off?
Previously, I would have always said yes, categorically yes. However, as I've grown in my own practice and since joining TarotTube have been introduced to so many cards, because initially I wasn't too fond of animal cards. However, I now love the Barber Studios deck. I also see, even in the strength card, the lion is like a king. It's like our inner strength, our inner really big, strong individual. So no, it's not important for me any longer that it has to be a human being.
Gerald, what about you?
It doesn't have to be a human. What I think is important for me is well, excuse me, is that your husband coming up on you, Elaine?
No, it was one of my manic animals.
Okay. So no, it doesn't. And in fact, in the Spacious Tarot, it's called the Elder. So for me, the title is important. So I have overachieved. I have launched into showing cards.
I love it. No, let's show some cards. I'm going to go back to the originals because I have to be honest. I like a person on a card. I do have trouble with animals representing the royal suit. And I'm doing the Wildwood, A Year in the Wildwood, and their suits, their royal card, court cards are animals or birds. And we've just gone through the element of air. So they've been birds. And I've had massive trouble with that one. And I have to say, I do struggle with that one. I do mind, how the human is presented. But I think some of it does go back to learning with these ones. I mean, the King of Pentacles, I mean, this is is it a kind of tidied up? It's such a busy card. It does my head in this one. So it's quite nice to have some elements of it stripped back. But I like a person on a card.
I don't need a we've talked about this before, Richie. I want my court cards to be doing something, so I prefer them not sitting down. I want them to do something that suggests what in this instance, what the king represents.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah.
Love it.
So
we have talked about the court cards for probably more than any other part of the tarot, I think, because it's always been slightly problematic for some people, and it's always a really lovely conversation that challenges us each time, and I just love talking about them. I really do.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Just going to the chat. Beth says Queen Elizabeth I definitely had an astrologer, and probably an astronomer historically document. Yes, and I can't. It was very famous. John D, was it? I can't remember. Anyway, and Debbie says I pulled a king in my daily spread today. That's lovely.
There you go.
Interesting question, says Ren. Spirit Wing says it has to be some sort of being, e.g., there's one deck that just has an empty chair, and I'm not.
Yes, I've seen that. Yes, yeah.
The location tarot does that, doesn't it? It tends to have the background and the whatever's going on, and then you kind of move the card and you get a ghost image of it. But I find it quite off-putting just to have an empty chair there. Calla says Catherine de Medici had Nostradamus. She was Queen of France.
Imagine having Nostradamus as your go-to.
Your go-to, you know, what should I wear today? What should I wear today?
Well, you know, it just proves science is real.
That's it. That's it.
Beth says something needs to be on the head for me. I'm good with antlers, or as Gerald is modelling, flowers. Absolutely. The idea of something on there to represent. Well, we could talk later on. What does it all represent, doesn't it? Debbie does love the animal decks. And Calla says the space is important to me. I like to see the Emperor with room to move. Robin is here. Hello, everyone. Just popping in for a bit for Corner Cafe at Cafe. Is it Reggio? Is that how we're going to pronounce it? It's I'm sitting on the throne once inhabited by Queen Theodore. Look at that.
Oh, I see. Tortoiseshell Moon is enjoying one of her 5 a day as well. Thank you for joining me.
Cheers to that one. And Kathy says, I like the courts to correspond, so I'm not keen when it's a person for a king, an animal for the queen, for example.
I agree. Yeah, because for me, I like the court cards to relate to each other.
Yes. I think they have to look like they belong, not necessarily as a family, but as a group that would function together there. Hi, Ramon, good to see you here. And Kristen says, I saw Nostradamus' home in Saint-Rémy, France. And Plucky Heroine says, Gerald looks regal.
Thank you. Doesn't this look like it's like a headlamp with instead of
a miner's headlamp?
I was going to say.
There you go.
But in a lovely way. If you were to go mining flowers underground, that's what you would wear.
Mining roots. Yes. There you go. Roots. There you go. Hey, Regina.
Hello to everyone that's joining us. Hello there. Very pleased to see you. Thank you for that one. So we've kind of established what we think about King. I suppose we need to discuss the fact that although cards tend to have a male on the card, but not all of them do, obviously. What do we think about the energies? I always think of this as it could be anywhere between the genders that's going on. There's fluidity. I do not read the King of Pentacles necessarily as a man or that one. Do we all agree on this one?
I do. Yep. It's just a strong individual.
Yeah.
Yes, and I like the Queen, equally powerful.
Yes.
I think the King tells you instead of the Queen who shows you and nurtures you.
Yeah.
The Queen has that more tender touch to her.
Yes.
More supportive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And encouraging.
Jeffrey says that the King works from the outside in, where the Queen works from the inside out.
I like that.
That's nice. That's worth writing down, isn't it?
There
it
you
is
go.
worth. It is very
We'll
worth.
pause while we write that down.
See, I have it
That
right here. On my
takes me nicely on to the next question I was going to ask you. And this, I really would like to see what people in chat think about it. 1 or 2 words that summarize a king card. So the energy of the king. Okay. 1 or 2 words, perhaps a couple of phrases that if you looked at a king and went, the main energies of these cards are ...
Strength, determination, and sometimes forcefulness.
Oh, nice. I'm going to go with mine, if that's okay, Gerald.
Yes.
I've gone with responsibility and honed talent.
I have authority, mastery, and experience.
Very nice.
And just at the top of your game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got it there. That's it. But we don't need to read any more books. That's it. Let's see what people are putting in.
There you go.
We have a book between us, guys. We have a book between us.
There you go.
Just the one, Elaine? I think there's a couple.
I think so.
Absolutely. Robin says adamant. Spirit Wing says pragmatic, controlling in a positive way. Kristen Louise says sovereign. Plucky Heroine says gravitas. This is all fantastic, isn't it? Ren says responsibility as well. Aquarius, our Debbie, strength and decision making.
Yes.
Calla says, I've read that description somewhere or other, external, internal for the king and queen. Yeah, I know. Look at us. We're on the same wavelength there, and absolutely. Beth says, mastery, completion, which means time to begin working on something new. Twisted Sushi, hello to you. Calla Lizzie says, control, vision, strategy, and strength again. Strength comes out quite a lot, doesn't it? Lovely. I'm just going back to Pamela's comment. I was reading in a Mary Greer book that a court card answers the question, who in the reading, and if the response is mature or not, but is an aspect of the querent.
That's interesting, Pamela.
Oh. Thank you. Amazing stuff, everyone. Thank you very much for that.
Y'all are good.
Debbie earlier said Tarot the Mystic Moments has alternate female kings. I didn't know that. That at all. Let's see if we've got anyone else. I think I just did colours there. Yeah, great. Okay. Next question. Are you ready for? I think this is our last question, actually. Okay. What is the difference for you between kings and the Emperor card? So, what is the difference for you between the king cards and the energies of the Emperor card?
Can I answer that one?
Go for it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. For me, the Emperor is a little bit more controlling, a little bit more, whereas a king would advise and allow you to learn, maybe rein you in, sometimes use a little bit of harsh words. I think the Emperor, albeit he's guiding and he's got the well-being of his around him, he's a little bit more controlling, in a way, potentially coercively controlling.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would add to that, the Emperor understands the boundaries of the kingdom and knows what we're doing. I think the kings are the ones who will be doing the day-to-day, because the emperors are more of the, here's the overall thing we're going. There's where we're going. I think the kings are working with people to help them do and to get there.
Yeah.
I also think both of them can be very kind and very benevolent.
Yeah.
And a negative aspect is they don't cross. Well, don't cross an emperor, of course. Certainly don't cross a king, because they can make daily life a bit
miserable, to say the least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always think of, when I've spoken to people, I've done a bit of training with people teaching about this. I always go, just remember that an emperor is elected, and can
Yes.
be, as a lot of Roman emperors were, can be
Mhm.
disposed of when it goes to their heads and when it starts to get
Yes.
out of control.
Point.
Whereas kings tend to be by divine right, and so therefore have a bit more of an in-ground energy, a bit more in-ground understanding of what their role is, and they tend to be a bit more grounded because of it. They don't tend to be potentially so extreme.
I appreciate
Yes.
that. Yeah.
So that's how I like
And
to think.
that would come as well with sort of, I know this is an awful term, I don't like it, but with breeding. If you're coming from a royal background, it's something you've grown up with. Whereas you're coming from as an emperor, you might have been a commoner at one stage, so you work on different values and different rule sets and different mindsets.
Absolutely. I mean, we
Well
could
said.
argue that the king is, in their high towers, let's put it that
Yes.
way, and
Yes.
slightly out of touch because they've always been in that nurturing family. Whereas, as you said, Elaine, the emperor can be anyone, can be a commoner,
Yes.
and can rise to power, and equally can fall from power.
Fall from grace very easily. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely. Any other thing you'd like to talk about this?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That emperor is elected and the kings come through it, and so they were raised with it. And
I suppose a lot of people do talk about how the page goes into the knight, which turns into the queen, which turns, so it's about that growth, isn't it? That
yes, it's all about that growth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spirit wings of kings are invested in that particular suit, whereas the emperor is on an archetypal level. Lovely. Nice. And Ren says, as we kind of said, an emperor has to be diplomatic. Yeah. Debbie says he is the king of kings. Wow. But again, that's a really lovely point. And emperor is strategy and empire building. Kings for me depend on the suit. King of Cups is someone who has mastered his emotions to successfully deal with obstacles. Yeah. Robin says king is local, emperor is a major in charge of the world. Loving that. The emperor has all the attributes of the king, but the kings are colored by the element realms. Nice. And Spirit Wing says kings used to be killed in the ancient days. Certainly are. Yes. The first King Charles didn't end too well.
Sorry, I'm just going to stop my dogs barking in 2 seconds.
Yeah, so kings as well as emperors can be got rid of. Blushing the Tarot's here. Hello to you. Working crazy today. I have to stick on a collective high. Lovely to see you. Spirit Wing says, I think divine right was only James the First. Yeah, we've got all that in there as well. And Beth says, good point. We Americans don't always think of that royal positioning. Kathy says the king oversees the kingdom of the suit, and the emperor and the empress govern all the kingdoms. Again, that's overarching thing there. This is lovely. Thank you, everyone, for your comments there. Only starts with James the First. Yeah. And Robin says it takes 4 kings to rule a deck, but only 1 emperor.
Oh, very good. Yes.
And Spirit says, in the days if the crop failed, absolutely curtains for the king. There's quite a few kings that have had very grisly endings, with pokers and beheadings and shootings and stabbings and things, and poison. I think is probably
poison was another one. Yeah.
Everyone's saying hello to Brian there and replying about that. Great. Okay, so it's time now to show us some cards, to have a look through some that we've got, some of our favourite ones, just the king cards. Who'd like to go first? Just talk us through why you like them, or perhaps why do you pick them out if there might be something that you might not be quite so keen on. Who wants? Gerald, would you like to go first?
Yes, because I'm the overachiever with most of the decks.
Yes, you are.
Oh, Richie, are you okay?
I dribbled then. You made me laugh.
Surprise! Guess which deck I have?
I love that deck. I love that deck.
No.
I know, the Robin Wood, King of Swords. And this king is not on a throne, but actually out in the element and very commanding. I mean, who does not want that tunic and that cape? I mean, really.
I'm going to hold up the RWF just with it so we can make sort of references to that or not if you want to. So I'll do that one then.
Yeah, thank you. And so you have it. It's actually in action, and then the King of Pentacles, which is of course a card of the fruitfulness and the fertility, and then arranging that, and look how happy he is.
He's got your scepter.
He does.
And your crown, because his is
He is you. You are him.
No, actually,
there is a distinct likeness there.
There you go.
There is.
There you go. So, and also, I think this one, there's that reference to the Green Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have the King of Cups, and I appreciate this one because when you look at it, there's also that sense of, while he is sedentary, he's not moving. There's a lot of emotions that are going on. So when this shows up, it just reminds me, okay, stay steady in what you're doing. So, and look out. And then the King of Wands, right out there.
What an outfit.
Doing it. So
he actually looks like a little flame there, doesn't he? Like a fire imp.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And shining that light so that others can see it. That's an important aspect.
Fantastic.
Lovely.
In a moment, I'll ask you, Elaine, if you want to show
no
one.
Problem.
But in the olden days, they'd kill the king stag in the forest. The tribesman who would be chosen to be king that year would be sacrificed. But I don't know enough to be sure how, when, if he was killed.
That would be interesting to actually go back and research that, because that's something different, isn't it?
Yeah. Kathy says that's my favourite deck. I especially love the Robin Wood King of Cups. Yeah,
I knew I liked you, Kathy.
And Kala says the king that's almost Mayan.
Yeah.
Right. Did you want to go next, Elaine? Or
I can do. I've only brought 2 decks down, and they're not necessarily my favourites, but because it's to do with the coronation, I thought I'd bring things that really felt royal. And tarot, I've got the Tarot de Modron, the Visconti de Modron deck with me, because I just felt that these, whoops, my camera, where is it? These just sort of give you sort of when we come to the spread, this will mean a lot more, because albeit we've got a man in a suit of armor here, he's got a very childlike face, and also very gender fluid looking, because it's a very slim body, very effeminate face, and that's our king, and it's only the suit of armor there that would say, and I'd say that's more for protection as opposed to strength. It's almost like self preservation, really, that was the King of Swords in the Modron. I'm terrible. Do you know something? If there was, how I've got a couple of my children dyslexic. I'm like that with my hands and cameras. I'm going everywhere. No coordination. Then we have the Pentacles, King of Pentacles. Again, it's a very sort of flamboyant looking king. Our crown there almost looks like peacock feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not one of my favorite decks, but I feel for the evening in it that it feels more one of my royal decks.
There you go.
And here we go with our King of Wands.
Lovely.
Yeah.
It reminds me of those real old medieval Richard II was very much like that, with blonde hair and quite
and the little bobbed curls, blonde curls, and they all look very much alike, which we all know. And I don't mean this in any way derogatory, but the with them looking so alike, it only highlights, royal families are interbred almost. So we do feel this in this deck,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And which deck is that again? The Visconti?
I'll show you the box. This is the Visconti di Modrone Tarot. And this is, it's one of set of three I've got. There's and the Sola Busca would be another one, and the Visconti Forza.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Robin, I've noticed you put something in about the forums. We're going to be talking about that later, so I'm just going to hold fire on those comments for a moment.
Nice.
But thank you for putting that one in there. The one I'm going to show to start off with is the Alexander Danilov tarot. Ooh. And I love this because of the severity of it. And these are the kings, and they've got so much pageantry, so much shield symbols. So that's the King of Swords.
Wow.
And they all have these kind of kingdoms behind them. It's very heraldic, the whole thing there. So swords, you've got, I think there are astrological symbols that go with them as well. When you pull one of these cards, you've got quite a severe kind of reading for this one. That's the King of Swords.
Like that deck, Richie. I do like that.
It is gorgeous. And it's very reminiscent of playing card kings as well.
Yes.
So King of Cups there, again, he looks quite, I suppose, quite Russian or something like that with his.
He does. Do you know, I like the symbol of the heart of the cup inside him, which is really sort of inner emotions, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely.
It's a very, I don't use this deck very often with people because it's quite frightening. As you can see, it's quite grim and severe. So here we have the King of Pentacles. And again, we've got the bull there. And again, his castle behind him. And finally, the King of Wands there. So we've got fire. He's very Henry VIII-ish about the whole thing. And I just like this because, as I say, when the court cards turn up with the Danilovs, those are the backs, by the way.
Oh, I do like them.
Very rich, like a tapestry. But it does feel very historic, this deck, and it feels like you could be back in the 15th century reading playing cards in Italy or something like that.
Is that particular deck an indie deck or mass market, Rich?
It is mass market. You can only buy it from his Etsy shop. So that's the deck there. Right. There are other decks. I had to buy it from Europe there. So that does take the price up a little bit. But it is a beautiful deck. I will quickly just show you.
It's
I know
beautiful,
we're not supposed to, but it is RWS. I had a lot of kind of medieval style decks. And this is the one that I really like. So
that's nice. It's very nice.
It's beautiful. Oh, that's the Emperor card, by the way, so you can see how different it is.
That's nice.
So that's that one there. So that's one I just like because of it feels historic and it feels very pageantry and very royal about that one there. Gerald, back to you, my friend. I'm just
what I'm going to talk about is the in-between tarot.
Ooh.
And the reason I'm a fan of this. And for those of you who don't know, the in-between tarot, the card is an influence between the card that comes between two cards. Yeah. And so, like, for instance, this is the King of Cups. So there's energy of the King of Cups and the Page of Cups.
Yeah.
And in my mind, why I really like these court cards in the in-between tarot is it goes back to continuing and passing on information and sharing. So there's the King of Cups, and then we have the King of Pentacles, which is a card about really passing on the hand work as well as being a provider. So, it's definitely a circle of life aspect. Yes. Here's the King of Wands, and what I appreciate about this is it's really it's a female passing on to a female child.
Yeah.
Doesn't she look like Princess Kate?
I was thinking that. Yeah, they did a royal walkabout today.
Yes.
William and Kate.
Yes.
And she had on an outfit very similar to that.
A red coat she had on today, didn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
The red version of that.
So,
very nice.
And then the King of Swords. So this is, again, a card about the tradition and the responsibilities of being a king, as it's and passing that on to the next generations.
Yeah.
So, and so that's the In-Between Tarot.
Lovely. I'm going to
Gerald, do you have the before and after as well? The before tarot and after?
I do, yes. Yeah. And this is by Janine. And so it's I've tried to use them together, all three of them, and it doesn't quite work, but this one works beautifully for this time of the year, like cross quarters.
Yeah.
Like that idea. I was actually only thinking about that deck the other day. Now, I have to be honest, I don't use it as much as I do because it takes a lot of thinking about, and quite often sounds very bad. I don't have that amount of time to sit there and try. It's something I should use on a more regular basis, but I've also got quite a lot of other decks to do. But I did think about that deck actually when I was thinking about this live, about how that crossover works really nice.
Well, and I was thinking about this as we think about the the ceremony tomorrow, that all of the things that he has to do are embedded in these kings.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that image always reminds me of something out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
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 And they're going through. I can't remember where they're in the barrel. I can't remember. It's a wonderful scene, though, isn't it?
It is, yes.
And Simon's here. Hello, Simon. Hope you're very
Simon.
well. Thank you for joining us here. And hello to anyone else that's joined us. Elaine, I'm going to jump in if that's okay.
Yes, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely.
My next one. I've got quite a few here because I couldn't decide. So
no problem.
And I've gone for a deck that I'm so pleased I found this because I forgot that I had it, and it's the Celtic Tarot.
Oh, lovely.
And the reason I like this one, and I thought I just remember the court cards in here, it's just the colours, because they're based on the Book of Kells and all that wonderful Celtic knotwork there. And again, this has got a real sense of age about it. And I think one thing that's important about the coronation that they're bringing in tomorrow, because they are having readings and hymns done in Gaelic, English, Scottish, other languages as well. They're trying to really get back to sort of some of the older cultures. And so this kind of reminded me a little bit. We're talking about Gaelic, Celtic, and with the knotwork. So that's the King of Wands.
Wow, that's nice.
And it is very lovely colours. They're very jewel-like here. And again, we've seen pictures of what the crown jewels look like, and they've been polished up. It's going to be very, very blingy. And I like the fact the King of Coins here is sitting there going through a really long list that he's written and kind of thinking about all the things he's promised and all the things he still needs to do there while his, I don't know, fool or servant or whoever it is crouching at his feet there. I like, I think I've shown the King of Cups.
You're getting a lot of love for that deck.
Am I?
Yes.
Lovely. It's a really old deck, and it really pops up on eBay very, very frequently. Those are the backs. So it's got that real 80s, 90s kind of border to it, if you know what I mean. But it is a pip deck, but it is beautiful as well.
I would be trimming that.
It will trim, yeah. And I just love the King of Swords because there's a real hint of Macbeth about him, isn't there?
Oh, yes.
There is a hint of Macbeth with him, yes.
And he's got a great hairstyle. Yes. But again, it's really really kind of, I'm the king, I'm here, I'm in control. You perhaps will do what I say there on that one there. So that's the Celtic Tarot, and as I said, it's out of print, I think, but there are lots of copies of it.
I was told the person that donated that deck that I got in the charity shop is putting that one in next week. So I've got my fingers crossed.
Oh, go get it.
I'm going to put my runners on.
There you go.
I'll
Get on your bike.
be like a sniper's nightmare, running down the street.
So that's the Courtney Davis. Comes with a lovely book. You can tell how old this is. It's got like those videos.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my God! It's like an old VHS video box.
It is like that. I think there are other versions available there, but it's a charming deck, that one there. So I would recommend. Yes, it is Red Wing. It is Courtney Davis's artwork there. Tala says the Celtic Tarot is a good read, but it's also so beautiful to just stare at and contemplate. Absolutely, it's like a jewel box. It really is. Yeah. Beth says Charles is celebrating other cultures. I mean, some baggage there to be sure, but bravo to him. I'm a Charles fan. Watched a documentary on Camilla. Was exhausted by the amount of charity work. Yeah, there's a lot of I remember watching a documentary about Princess Anne and thinking, how does she manage to fit everything that she does into one day there? So I just love that one there. There are other versions. I have a first, but I usually use one of the later versions to read with regularly. Who would like to go next with their decks?
Will I go with this gold one? Because I've only got this one left, and then I can sit back and watch you guys.
Okay. We can do that. We can talk for hours if we need.
Have you met us, Elaine?
I have, but then I've got the spread afterwards. So holy God!
And then you have one of your 5. You have your
you pour yourself another glass of wine, and
I know I can actually go and top my glass up.
There you go.
Okay, the kings I've taken from, and I have Simon to thank for this. Actually, I shown this deck on my channel the other day, and I just knew it as being an RWS, and I hadn't seen the Universal RWS, and it was Simon that actually messaged me to let me know which one it was, which I was delighted about. And I love these. And now I know, Gerald, you're saying about kings having motion about them, and albeit these are sitting down, each of them, I don't know if you can see, because this is a very glittery, very blingy deck. It's a absolute gorgeous deck if you're into bling. Now, what I like about these, they're all sitting in positions where they're sort of like in authority of their skill set. Yes. Okay. So here we have him sitting there as though he's listening to somebody that's gone to him on advice, say business advice, something to do with, materialism or business, or how can I go about setting up my next business? And he's sitting there looking at him, pondering and going, well, this is what I would do if I were you, boy,
Well, and I can see that one in a reading, Elaine, with interacting with the other cards.
Definitely. And interacting with the other kings.
Yes.
Particularly because they almost make like a circle of knowledge in their position, their posing, and how they're presenting themselves. We have the King of Cups here, who might be, if he was in conversation with this guy, who's advising your man about how to spend his money. But this one's turning around and saying, well, hold on a minute. If you tend to put it all on one, you could be emotionally absolutely drained if it didn't come through. If you're going to back it, make sure you've got his brains, but make sure you don't put everything on, because of, it could be emotionally, psychologically, mentally draining. We then have our King of Wands, who is saying, go out and get it. You've got the skills and you've got the talents. You know that I have the belief in you. Yes, we'll arrange the funding. Sod your emotions. That's not counting right now because you can see them all fighting together as men would. And then we have our big talker, our man of communication, who's getting them all back into order and saying, right, each one of us has a role to play. We all have to look after each different part, whether it's our skills and talents, our materialism, whether it's our emotions, or the way we communicate. Be king of the hill when it comes to communication, because then none of these will fail. You know?
I appreciate that. And yeah.
Sorry, Gerald, carry on.
Yeah. There you go.
No, good.
I just really love, and it hadn't dawned on me, but I saw you hold up, that it really is a sense that they are sitting around a circle, those
It is.
four kings, isn't
Yes.
it? I never realised that till you showed
Yeah.
it to me.
You know, it's just
like that meeting in Lord of the Rings where they're all sitting around discussing.
It's as though all the heads of the different clans are coming together in order to mold and make sure that you are really, you know, growing in your own way, and they're all there to push, to encourage, to guide, you know.
Please like and subscribe. Hello to anyone joining us. Hello, Jackie. Lovely to see you here.
Hi, Jackie.
Welcome anyone else that's watching, and thank you for all your lovely comments. And Elaine, thank you for sharing that one.
You're very, very welcome.
And how blingy, how golden. I mean,
I know. Just how blingy can you get? You know, they put my rings into the dark.
And Callum says, are they all getting together to elect an emperor?
They could well be, or to elect a fifth king.
Ooh. Yeah, both Richie and I have the same reaction. Ooh, what's that story? Write that down. That's good. Loving me that.
Gerald, would you like to show another one of your decks?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
How about the This Might Hurt tarot?
Oh, okay.
And one of the reasons that I appreciate this deck is these are people I can see these people doing this.
Yeah.
You know, this is a real person. And I like the little bitty crown. And then we have the King of Wands, which is actually a woman around a fire. And there is, and you know, come on, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Kings oftentimes are mature, so they may be in a wheelchair. They may need that help. And I especially like the King of Swords, which is mental. I would say the mind is quite accurate, so the body needs some assistance.
Yes.
And this card makes me very happy. The King of Cups. Look, I mean, come on. Can you not? I mean, you know, quite happy in the turbulent waters and being able to manage that. So, and
Beth's asking, did the King of Wands card have a ram on it, Gerald?
Hold on, so a minute now.
King of Wands?
Yeah.
No, I don't see, but it does have a salamander.
Yeah.
So salamander.
That would be a salamander. They're fire salamanders, aren't they?
Alice says the Roosevelt King. Thank you to everyone in chat.
So I mean,
sorry.
This could be me sitting around my house, right? Or you know, give Elaine a beard, and because
and that would be very easily done. Looking at my face, I can tell you that.
No.
I tried using wax strips for the first time. I thought, sod that for a game of soldiers. Not doing that again.
Good for you. Yeah. You know, and I think and so I really appreciate that This Might Hurt tarot and the appreciation, because these are obviously people of different ages, which does suggest that you have the ability to get that maturity at different ages. So yeah.
I have that deck, Gerald, and you know, they always remind me of the likes of our parents reaching a particular age and going, go on, lads, it's down to you now. I've done my bit.
Yep.
You know, I need help here, or let me have this glass of wine and relax. You've wrecked my buzz for a long time. It's time for me to relax.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still in charge, but I've taught you everything I need to know.
It's the King of Pentacles that has the ram on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you very much, Gerald. I'm going to show one of my favorites. No surprises here. I'm using it all the time. The Tarot of Oneness.
What? Really?
Surprise. Do you know what? Well, you've been on lives with me, Gerald, when this has just read like a dream.
Yep.
And we talked earlier about how we don't need to have actual figures, characters on the card itself. What I like about these cards for the kings is, firstly, they don't use the word king, it's the embodiment.
Ooh.
And that goes really nicely with those phrases we were trying to think up as how would we describe them there. So it's a bit like you have a zoomed in version of their throne, and they've kind of put their things down on it to wander off and do something. So their crown for the wands is very glitzy and crystally. They've got a wand there, the salamanders there.
And that's also saying as well, Richie, that seat is there for the taking. If that crown fits you, you are that king.
Yes.
You know?
But also, in many ways, if you're going to put the crown on, you have that responsibility.
You have that responsibility too, yes.
So swords. I think it's really subtly done. I love the cups one with the ship and the shell there and the flying fish.
Yeah.
And again, I love this pentacles, because for me that really sums up how the original RWS, the busyness of that is kind of captured there with the grapes and the really comfy seat. I think that's the most comfortable thrones that I've seen there. And I just appreciate that it's the energies that are coming through on this one.
Yes.
And by not having an old man on it, let's put it that way, an older man, it's refreshing to think, what is the energy? Not being distracted with the image of the person itself, what's tied up in the meaning of this one. And again, as I said, the name embodiment is just, they've hit the nail on the head when it came to these cards.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting that one, especially because of those kings, because depending upon the reading, that king could show up. It's telling you what is needed.
Yeah.
If the crown fits, wear it.
That's it. Perfect. Yes.
And there's also many stories you could make up with that. Why has the crown been taken off, put down? Why is it time to retire?
Somebody being usurped.
Exactly. So it's just very nice to have almost like that still life about it there. Those are beautiful looking cards, great coloured, lovely drawings. They are. Yeah.
Very much so.
Gerald, do you want to do one of your other ones?
Yes, and this is one that I didn't tell you about, but it's Out of Hand by Jamie Sawyer.
Okay.
So, one of the things that I appreciate about this is that the focus is on the hands. So this is the King of Pentacles. And you can see the king is, while counting the money, also looking at the spreadsheet and doing multiple things. So there's a great beauty in that. So, and then there's also nods to the RWS in the tattoos. So, and, we have the ram there. So it's extremely helpful.
This is one of your favorite decks. I've seen you use this.
This is absolutely one of my favorites. King of Wands. We have the one, the rock star, the one who is going out and inspiring people, giving great speeches, and leaning into the power and the charisma of that energy. Yeah. So, the King of Cups, much the same way as Elaine was talking about, seeing the kings around. This is one who is offering that counsel, and also, could be an advisor, a therapist, could be a parent. And I think it's one of those things that is, it's this king is put together, but also is willing to have emotions and to express the emotions.
I love how his cufflinks are fish and it looks like it's jumping out the water.
Yes. Isn't that?
Yes, I like
just
that.
So many details. And then the King of Swords. This is this is a barber, but think about it. Knowing what to cut out, knowing where to go, having that big picture and understanding what needs to happen. We've all had, well, it may have been a while for you, Richie, but we've all had bad haircuts. So, sorry.
I had a bad beard cut. That's why I've trimmed all mine down. I have to say.
But it, you know, but so with this power comes responsibility and the consequences. And so for me, the idea of that the kings are active, that the court cards are active, they're very, very active.
Yeah.
And it works beautifully in the cards. And, you know,
Lovely.
purchase responsibly, because Jamie Sawyer has said once her copies are sold out, they're going out of print. She's not reprinting tarot decks anymore.
Need to get myself a copy.
Mm.
Gerald, do you mind if we do one together? Because I want to get on to the next part.
I don't mind at all. I don't mind at all.
We both picked one, and of course, it's one I think is really important to have the conversation about. Light seers.
The light seers,
because I'm sure most of us are familiar with the light seers, but here we have got people in modern men, let's call it like that, away from perhaps their thrones, but they're in certainly embodying a lot of the energies of the cards there. So we both picked this one out because it is a classic, and when it comes to the court cards and how they've been handled here. So I'm loving
very subtly and beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
And I really do feel like these people are people that you can meet, and possibly you may even know people that sort of embody that. I think of, I'm not going to mention names, but I see that, and I think of certainly people I've spoken to on Tarot Tube that I feel that represents.
Yeah.
And let's face it, they're also quite hot as well, and that helps.
Well, yes, and they're also quite confident. The element. I mean, and they're comfortable with that. So, I mean, come on. Are you going to argue with that King of Wands? I mean, you can, but you might not win, or you're going to get a new perspective.
He may feed you to his lion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit like the Roman emperors used to do.
Absolutely. I was never sure about this King of Pentacles. It took me a really long time to get it, but I get it now. The fact of earth signs and their home comforts.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one, very comfortable and has the dog and creates that great environment.
This is one that I have to say, when I think of the King card, I don't know if this one quite fits with it, because all of these ones seem quite modern to me. This one's just got a bit too much of the hint of the Viking about it, which is not a bad thing, let me just say. But that jacket and the kind of thing, I'm not quite.
It does have a very Viking vibe to it, especially with the raven there as well.
But I love all the the air elements that's going on around.
There's loads of air elements there, yeah.
Well, and I love how this is on a mountain, so kings oftentimes have to have a higher perspective.
I hadn't noticed that. All their backgrounds are sort of like the fiery desert here, aren't they? And then we've got the water. I suppose I had noticed it, but never thought about it.
Yeah. Well, and then, here, because here is the emperor. And the emperor is a lovely combination of all of that.
Yeah.
So
I'm just going to go through some of the lovely chat. Sorry, it's jumped a lot, and I have been trying to put up people's messages there. Calla agrees, super hot. There you go. Yeah. Appeasing to the eye. Yes, absolutely.
Appeasing to the eye.
Very much so.
Look at the king, loving it. Yeah. King of Swords. There we go. Everyone's showing a bit of love for that one. I wonder if that distracts me from a bit sometimes, the deck. Perhaps it may do. I don't know there. This may be the deck I don't want to start an argument.
I see you, Beth.
Kathy says, I'm late to the Lightseers party. I only got it a month ago, but I have to concede that it is beautifully done. Yeah.
It is. It's beautifully done, but it's also very gently done.
Yeah.
It's a gentle deck.
depends upon if it works for you, because I know for some people it just doesn't work. And
I know it, and I was one of those people. And I have to be honest, I don't use it as much as perhaps I should, but I do really admire the artwork, and I know the right times to use it with the right kind of people that are reading for it. There.
And the Terror of Oneness is the big one for you.
It is.
That's the go-to.
So before we jump in with your lovely spread that you did for us today, I'm going to go for a question that we're all going to, and we can answer in chat if you want to. We've looked at the four kings, we've looked at the suits, we've looked at the embodiments of them, the energies of it. Here's the question. If you had to pick one of the four king cards to represent King Charles III and what we know about him, which one would you do? So I'll tell you what we do. We'll have, don't show us. We'll have a bit of a drum roll. We're going to pick one of the cards we talked about, okay? And think about
put my cards away, Richie.
Anyone you like, anyone you like, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, which one am I going to go for?
Wait a minute, this isn't fair. You knew it. So
you were pre-prepared.
And you can use a deck we haven't used yet if you wanted to. I'll give you that option. Okay.
Oh, this is so mean.
Now, of course, I should say this is all for entertainment purposes only. Okay. This is obviously how we feel about the position of the royal family, where we are with the coronation. There's lots of factors all playing in for this one, but it's quite hard to obviously embody one person in a card, but we're going with what we think. Are we ready?
Yes.
Let's turn them around. What have we got? Ooh. So let's explain. Elaine, would you explain why you picked that card?
My King of Cups. And the reason I chose the King of Cups is because I feel that we have the King of Swords, of Pentacles, of Wands, all different things. But King of Cups, there's a lot of emotion. And, you know, being crowned king has come, sadly, on the death of his mother. He is going to have to keep his emotions in control. But it's not just that. There is the emotion of what's gone on in his life before, what's happened now and very recently, and what will continue to happen. There's going to be the emotion and the fear and the worry that will spring up from the likes of these "he's not my king" wallers, right? And that can affect his emotions, and he's going to have to be strong enough. He'll have to have the strength of the King of Swords. He'll have to have the wherewithal of all the kings. But most importantly, he's going to have to keep a rein on his emotions, and it's not going to be easy.
Lovely. Thank you. Gerald, would you like to go next?
No, but yes. I have the King of Wands, and why I feel this is important is because the regular King of Wands is the courageous leader, and I think that's extremely important because following his mother, he has to be courageous. This is also embodies the Page of Wands, which is inspiration and enthusiasm, and the in-between concept is the art of being humble. And I think that goes partially to what you were saying, Elaine, is he is not his mother. He is his own self. And with him comes a lot of responsibility and opportunity to make things different going forward. So the idea of working and paying it forward and having, he's new, and that's going to be an important thing. So
I'm going to say that I changed my mind on this 2 hours before we went live, because I was going to give you that one. And I simply was going down the road that he loves his nature, he loves his gardens, he's very environmental, he's very into, net zero and all of that stuff. And for me, that was the earth element that came with the King of Pentacles there. And then when I thought about it, I thought, no, that's too easy. So I then decided he was the King of Wands. And similar to what Gerald had actually said, I watched a program. It was the repair shop from a few years ago when he took some of his objects along to get repaired. And he turns up at the end to see what they've done to it all. But what was interesting, there was a lot of people that he knew from some of the charities that he'd done, like Prince's Trust. And he was able to not only remember them and remember their names, but knew a lot about them. And what the King of Wands to me is about, it's about presenting and understanding and making sure that when you are there, that you are genuinely there in that space. There's no fakery. There's no hello, shake your hands there. He is able to have this very personable approach, which I think comes across as very genuine. And I think, again, the King of Wands has to be there. He is going to be the showman, particularly tomorrow. The whole world is going to be looking at him. He has to know the rules. And it might be he's still learning those rules. And I think that's where we are at the moment with our relationship with the King about to be. We've got very used to the years with the Queen. She had a lot of time for our respect to grow and to love her. And the new King also has to do that, but he's got a lot of social media and a lot of the world looking at him and making judgments on him. So I think he's going to have to be a kind of person that can work that and work with it well.
I can see that.
There. I'm just going to quickly zip through what some people said. So let's just see what other people are going to do. I might not read them all out, so do apologize because people have got such lovely comments in there. Callus says Charles's kindness is always the first thing I think of with him. Beth says King of Swords over intellectualizes to suppress emotions, devoted to things and people think that makes sense to him, thinks about big issues very in his head. Spearing said Cups definitely emotionally led. Ren asked, is he a Scorpio? I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you what star sign he is. King of Cups is that one there. Kathy says, well put, Elaine, to you there. And Jackie wants to know what deck that was, Elaine.
That is the Visconti di Madrone Tarot. Okay.
Thank you. Beth says he's almost a Renaissance man. One of the many I think his marriage to Diana was disastrous. He's very worldly and knowledgeable on many subjects. Robin says he's going to have to relate emotionally to the people while exhibiting passion and communication to resolve the economy issues. Lovely. Lovely comments here. Thank you. Pamela says it's not like people can say he is not their king like our president. He is the king, just one embodiment of the king. The question is not him. It would be saying, I don't want a king. I hear you on that one. Sorry, I read that out really badly there.
Just to confirm, he is Scorpio.
Is he?
Charles is Scorpio, yeah.
Emotional connection seems to be good. The issues with the economy are more the PM's problems. Discuss. There we go. I think Charles thinks and feels deeply. He's very sensitive. Beth says that's the great thing about being the king nowadays. The PM makes the good or bad decisions. The king has a different kind of power. Yep. And people are talking about democracies. Charles is a Scorpio. And lots of people having lots of conversations. The government sure does suffer from our disengagement. So we've broken a conversation there that I think a lot of people want to join in, which is lovely to hear. And it's encouraging people feel so passionate about it. Thank you, everyone. But we haven't finished yet because Elaine has kindly done a reading. A special spread. and I'm going to ask her to talk it through. If that's okay, Elaine, and
That's fine. I've got my notes here, so if I'm looking to one side, I took a
what I'm going to do
amount
is
of
I'm going to
notes.
put your reading up, and I
Okay.
hope that you can see it there.
And
We're now to one side, so I'm going to leave it to you, to Elaine, to explain what you've done and what you found.
As I said to Rich and to Gerald earlier on, it's purely coincidental that the spread actually looks like a Q for Queen, but it just was not planned that way. First of all, the centre card, I used the Visconti Madrone, King of Cups, as a significator for King Charles. Now, before I go ahead and give you the questions for each position, I apologise if some people might find it's nothing is meant in offence. What I've based the questions on the royal prerogatives, okay? And the royal prerogatives include and have extra the following: to appoint and or dismiss ministers, regulate the civil service, issue passports, declare war, make peace, directs the action of the military, negotiates and ratifies treaties, alliances, and international agreements. So my questions, I focused around those particular topics and a couple others. So the first one, which we start at the top of the spread at 12 o'clock, that is the Knight of Wands. And the question to go with this is the current popularity of the new king. Now, the Knight of Wands, you'd say, well, how does that depict his popularity? We've got to look to possibly view how he's possibly viewed by the public at present, because we do have two different camps. We have the royalists and we have the anti-royalists, the anarchists. He, on one hand, he can be seen as adaptable, motivated, open-minded, inclusive, physically capable of doing the job at hand, albeit that he's 74 years of age. He is, am I correct in saying, Richie, you might be able to say, one of the oldest monarchs to be crowned king at this age?
Yeah.
In fact, I think he is, if I'm not mistaken.
He is, yeah.
So he's had 74 years of training to do this job. If we were to look at the other side of this, we might see a man who does not clean up his emotional messes very well. And this can be seen through his first marriage, in the reaction of his youngest son. This could be given, this could then give people the impression that he could potentially be selfish, careless, and immature, which is the other side to the Knight of Wands. Okay. So then we've got to look at, he could seem as an odd thing to say about a 74-year-old man that he's immature, but he's about to become the country's figurehead. But he has spent the last 74 years in his mother's shadow. Everything has had to be passed by the Queen. For a man of 74 years, that must be a little bit demeaning. Okay. Does that mean he is emotionally mature? Has he been allowed to emotionally mature? Does he have tantrums if things don't go his way? We don't know what's behind closed doors, but I do think the potential is there if we go back and we look at the timeline from when he first started coming into the public eye. Okay.
I think I'm trying to jump in there, Elaine. I think that's a really wonderful card to have, and you've summarized it in a really wonderful way. I can see that immaturity is possibly not the right word that I want to use, but there's that whole waiting in the wings, waiting to go.
In the wings, yes. And it must be very sort of demasculating if at that age you've got to pass everything by your mum first. My sons are 23 and 24. If I said that you have to do what I say, I'd be laughed out the house, Now, the other aspect to this is his religious path. And it's not so much that he is looking for his religious path. At this point in time, he is now at the pinnacle of his religious path because he is now the head of the Protestant church. He has now gone down that road, and he is now king of the hill when it comes to his religious path. So that has all been encompassed in this card. So the Knight of Wands here very much gives us a good picture of how he can be seen, potentially good and bad. You can get an even balance of both sides. The second position there we've got this group of people. Now, I'm not going to pretend I'm a royalist, but I'm not an anti-royalist. I'm sort of just, life is, okay? Now, this group, the group Not My King, and for that one, would you believe we got the Five of Swords?
Mm-hmm.
And this is such a card to get for that question. What is this group? Do you know? It's a group of anti-royalists who do not have the respect for authority, the monarchy, history. They use belittlement and degradation by treating and regarding the king with contempt and disrespect in the hope that they could potentially be contributory to the downfall of the monarchy. However, as we know with the Five of Swords, that won't happen because anything gained through sleeving, as we would say here in Ireland, through sly methods, through those traits that I mentioned, you don't hold on to it for very long. You might have little battles, but they will not win the war, because I just feel that the actions of these people will encourage people like me to become more of a royalist, and they will build more enemies than friends. So using this method will not work. Okay.
Lovely.
So the third card, which is at 3 o'clock on the screen there, will King Charles make changes to the current ministerial lineup? And for that one, we got the Nine of Wands. Okay. And this indicates that King Charles is in a good position. He has strength and support. He will meet opposition and, to change boldly, as he will be quite formidable, because I think in his own way, as much as we've said he's emotional, as much as we've said that he might not have matured is a wrong word, but developed, I don't know what we could use there, but I think he could be quite the formidable character as well as the kind, caring character that I feel he would be with the King of Cups. Okay. I think that any changes he makes will be successful and will make a difference to the running of the country, with him being the ruler of the country moving forward and making the changes that he deems fit will be favourable, especially if he's well prepared, which he will be, as this is what he's been trained for, as we have said, for the past 74 years. Okay. Now, question 4, which is across the way at, say, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock maybe on there.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bit of one that could upset people. Have the behaviours of his brother Andrew and son Harry had a negative or damaging effect on the future rule of King Charles?
Right.
For that card, lo and behold, this actually, I got goosebumps when I saw this. We got the Death card. Now, for this one, yes, the behaviours of both men have not only changed the relationship between two sets of brothers, but also between father and son, uncles and nephews, and the public and princes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How King Charles moves forward with these changes, as they are not only business and order of the day changes, but they are also changes in family, physical changes, emotional changes, and these can have an effect on mental health too. Changes to the monarchy and loss of roles for some, more responsibilities for others, and changes as to how the people of the UK and world platforms view the royalty. The behaviour of both have brought the monarchy down off the pedestal that they might have been on for a long, long time. King Charles will have to ensure that he does not put himself in a position where he can be accused of supporting unacceptable behaviour or actions. Any refusals to accept responsibility for those actions, or he could potentially lose the support of the population. And this is where the death knell for the monarchy could be sounded. Yeah. Okay, so he has to be very wary of the steps he takes when it comes to Andrew and Harry.
Lovely.
The fifth card, which is at 5 to 12. Mm-hmm. Will King Charles reign for a period of 10 or more years? Because a lot of people have been spouting and waxing lyrical that it'll be a short-lived reign. I don't necessarily believe it will be. We got the Magician. Longevity is in his DNA.
Yeah.
As is keeping his marbles if he takes after the Queen or the Queen Mother. Mm-hmm. He has the ability, the sense, the drive, and the ambition to last more years than folk think. So potentially he could reign for more than 10 years. He has all the qualities needed to fit the bill. So says the Magician. Okay.
Lovely.
Is there, now coming down to 6 o'clock at the bottom there, is there a chance that King Charles could declare war? For that one, we got the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles, there's always the potential for a ruler to declare war. However, this could be quite unlikely in the case of King Charles. He will do what he can to avoid it by liaising with others, by being a good ambassador, by discussion, by fair play, by assisting the poorer countries, and surprisingly being seen as the kind king. Because the cards that we've chosen today, and we all agreed that he is led by emotion, that he is a kind individual, is not necessarily seen by all, but I think they will really see the King Charles as an individual as opposed to his mother's son. And I do feel when I pulled that card, this card was sort of pulling out with it, so I took it. It was the Six of Swords.
Right.
Okay. And this to me states that this monarch could be the tiller that steers the country into more peaceful and harmonious times through the changes and rulings that he makes. This could be the monarch who could be a core player in aiding peace across the globe.
Wow, that's lovely.
Okay, so there you go. That's the
Thank
reading.
you, Elaine. There's lots of lovely comments. There's so much to pick up from that one. Thank you for doing that one for us. It's very interesting because before I saw your spread you sent me the other day, I was thinking, which card would I, if you had any of the cards from the deck, would I kind of assign to the reign of Charles III? And I picked Six of Swords. And it's interesting that's come up. And I picked it because I think it is a real, however long it's going to be, whether it's a few years, whether it's a long, it's going to be that move from the old school royalty to the new modern royalty that Catherine and William will no doubtedly bring to it. If you like, Charles's rule is going to be the final bit of the old school, send them to boarding school, all that side of it all. And I think he's going to be the one that makes this Six of Swords transition from one place to another. And that's how I saw it. So it's interesting that came up with that.
Yeah, I agree that Six of Swords really does say a lot because it's regardless, it's a transition. It's a change from something so long established.
Yes. And
again, it suggests the waters may not be plain sailing.
No,
there could be rockiness along the way, as we would expect it to be. But it does suggest that there is that movement to something new, exciting on the horizon.
I just feel that within that spread there, we had the Death card, which is, I feel, the end of old. He's already making changes in the coronation. You know, he's starting off and he's making it his. He's owning it. And that says a lot about him as a man. He's not stepping into his mother's shoes. He's walking beside her shoes in his own shoe size, you know, and he's making it his. And I do feel that he has the potential to be a great king.
It's interesting. I don't know, Gerald, have you seen what the invitations to the coronation look like? I don't know if you've seen
I have not. Can you show me yours, Richard?
Unfortunately, I was a bit busy tomorrow.
Okay, you had to say no. Thank you.
I've got things on. But what he did have, and it's got a lot of the pagans of the UK talking, he's actually got a green man on the invitation.
Yes.
But
you see, he's very much a horticulturist himself. You know, he talks to his plants. You know, my neighbors hear me in my greenhouse talking to mine. I play my radio to them.
It's
all coming out of the men in white coats shortly.
Elaine, thank you for doing that, and it's a very brave thing to, you know, because you could have ended up in the Tower of London if it hadn't turned out right.
I know.
You could be the first one under Charles III to be imprisoned. You know, that would have been. Like and subscribe to the channel, everyone. Let's see what happens to Elaine after this.
You'd never know. I could get a job as the King's tarot reader.
There you go. Oh my goodness.
Or
Let's
gardener.
get him on the channel.
Or
You know,
gardener.
the next week he's got nothing better to do once he's got the coronation on. Let's get him on and do his cards for him properly, shall we? Like that.
There you go.
Great, wouldn't it?
Oh.
Beth says, wow, incredible spread and reading. And yeah, really is amazing. Death is the Scorpio card. So comfortable energy for Charles there, says Calla. And yeah, Kathy says, I agree with Beth. It's incredibly insightful. My heart breaks over Harry and the schism. No matter the money or the privilege, family suffering is indeed very, very sad.
It is.
Yes.
Especially when it's so public.
You were a teacher, so she's really in her element here. Yeah,
Yes, I was a
absolutely.
teacher, yes. Retired teacher now. I couldn't go back to it now. I've become
Wow,
the hippie now.
people. And Carla says, I feel very sorry for Charles William regarding Harry's antics. And people are talking about that one there. And the racism breaks my heart, says Maruta. Carla, so that is a lovely spread, Elaine. Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
And, yeah, it's complex. He's giving William a bit more time before he has to take on the role.
Yes.
Absolutely. And there's people, the fake racism claims now downgraded to unconscious bias claims don't bother me. Lots of nonsense. People are agreeing, commenting on that one there. Yeah, as always, it's complex. Absolutely there. And Jackie says, brilliant. Elaine, thank you very much. So
Thank you very much, Jackie.
Pamela, I think actually Pamela has really summed it up quite nicely. I certainly hope for everyone's sake Charles will have a wonderful reign of peace. Absolutely.
And I think the peace will probably come from him. You know, he has that ability. You know, before, you know, when Princess Diana died, I have to be honest, she was my favorite. I can't lie about that. But he seemed to, years later, step in and become an ambassador under that umbrella, which I don't feel he was previously. No. I think Diane was the one that was out there doing that. And it's almost like he seemed to learn something from her.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Nancy's just woken up, everyone. Hello, Nancy. Don't worry about missing it. You can watch the replay, but plan on watching the coronation tomorrow. Lovely. And Plucky Heroines, just talking to plants is wonderful. Not so much if they talk back. Yeah, and Debbie says Charles needs to do a round table with Chris.
There you go.
Explaining, we'd like that one there. And Robin said, you should have seen Chris reading yesterday. It was enough to make Charles skip the coronation. Yeah, a lot of thought and attention did go into that spread regarding the questions and the reading itself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine, again. And Jackie has kindly put your channel link in there.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you very much.
To Elaine's channel, because there's some wonderful content on there. Thank you. Right, let's put this back in. Let's get back into it there. So that's pretty much it. We're an hour and a half in.
Wow.
It's been joyful. It's been really lovely to explore some cards and ideas and listening to not only what you've said, but also all the wonderful comments in chat there. And I really like how people have been quite honest, and it's been really interesting to have some of those conversations. So obviously, I'm going to be watching the coronation tomorrow because, quite frankly, I just need to have a sit down on the sofa for a few hours.
You need to put your feet up.
To rest and relaxation. Yeah. So that's. Are you going to be watching tomorrow, Elaine?
I don't know. I've got a tarot. I've got hosting a tarot class in the morning here at home. So I've got that to do, and I can't really. I've put them off the last couple of weeks because we've had football matches and we've had bank holidays. So I really might have it on in the background. But very different here in Ireland. It's unless you're in the north, it's not. It hasn't even made our news here. So
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. When you see the history there, it's like yeah.
What about you, Gerald? Are you going to be tuning in to watch it, or?
I will probably be watching some of the replays of it because it's 5 a.m. here.
Oh, yes.
I expect to still be asleep, but
I can phone you. I can, if you want a wake up call, I can do that.
I would appreciate that.
Like a hole in the
Maybe
head.
I'll answer it.
And Calla Lizzie is making scones.
Is it scones or
scones? Scones, and I'm going to have coffee, but may switch to tea later on.
Thank you, Lynn.
Depends on how long the big show goes on.
Yeah.
It's a whole day, and there's going to be a concert and performers and all that one there. Lynn says, brilliant reading, Elaine. The whole session has been great. I enjoyed the King Study in chat. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. You're all very, very welcome. What have we got coming up, though? Because this isn't the end of us three, is it?
No.
We think we're back tomorrow, don't we?
We are. We're with Orshi tomorrow.
We're going to be with Orshi and Sarah, I believe.
Sarah, yeah.
Getting a get together. We're called the Five of Pentacles, and we're going to be chatting, having a laugh. It's 6 o'clock UK time, so whatever that is around the world.
It's 1 p.m. Eastern.
1 p.m.
1
Eastern.
p.m.
So we will be again live over on Orshi's channel at that time, and we'll probably be talking more about the coronation. I can imagine.
More than likely. So I will have to make a concerted effort to have a look and get on the channels and see what I can see and share.
I just think Calla said good luck, Beth. I'm just wondering what good luck.
Beth is actually watching the replay because she's reading tarot tomorrow at a crystal shop. Oh. And Beth, are you using the Light Seers tarot?
Pamela, you are very, very welcome. Thank you as well for putting all the links in for the channels. Gerald, what have you got coming up this week?
On Monday, I am having an I'll Show You Mine with Allie from Heart and Soul Connected. We're showing each other oracle cards, oracle decks, and we're talking about how one can get to know oracle decks. And there's a secret on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. BST. I have got a very exciting live with someone about something that I'm not at that I am waiting to tell. Everybody should just like and subscribe, and you're going to want to be there.
Okay, you heard it first.
You're going to want to be there, and I am teasing. Yes,
you are
teasing you. But you really do want to be there because it's a rare thing to have this person on my on a channel.
Oh.
That is not their own.
Oh. There we go. Being tempted.
Know your limits and purchase responsibly, but you want to be there.
I'm going to be back next Friday. At least I hope I'm going to be here next Friday. It's going to be an early one next Friday.
Well, it's your birthday.
It's my birthday, and I'm going out for a meal later on. So I'm going to probably do a bit of an earlier one and just say hello to a few people and wave a few things. And
is it a special birthday or just a?
It's
birthday?
Just a regular one.
3 more years for me, then it's a special birthday. God.
Oh, a few more years. No, it's we're certainly into our 50s now. That is that kind of birthday. But yes, so I'm going to be doing probably a little bit of a short live next week. And then the following week, I've got an exciting new guest that we're going to be talking to as well. So look out for that as well. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, my lovely people. You have been wonderful in this conversation.
Thank you.
Enjoy the coronation weekend if you're going to be watching it. If you're not, I hope you get a wonderful bank holiday and get some time off. And we'll see you all really, really soon.
See you all soon. Bye-bye now.